Alright, a little video here of my new Predator PDL kayak. First thing we're going to look at here is the hatch. This also has the battery bag inside. This thing, of course, it locks and unlocks. You get the hatch open here and your battery bag is in there. It's suspended from straps, so it's relatively easy to put in there. It has a small hole down here where my thumb is. That's for putting your wiring through to wire your battery. You notice I've already got my cable from my depth finder down in here. I just put some tie straps on there to hang it loosely for now. It works pretty good. I've got the wires tucked in over here. You don't have to drill any holes. You can run your wire straight from your depth finder, which I've mounted out here. It's a little far from the seat, but not too far. I can still see it fairly clearly, and if not, you can sit forward in the seat fairly easy, so it's not hard to see your depth finder from that range and adjust it. I like the way the wires just bend over the hatch here, hatch lid, and you can close that right back down on there fairly easy, and then lock it back. If I get it down all the way, there we go. It's locked, and you just have the wires barely peeking out right here with no hole drilling, which is great. You'll notice I've got my scupper mount already in place down there. I have a Lowrance depth finder. The mount works pretty good. Comes up in there, tightens down. You can put this cap over the top of it to give it a clean look. The cord runs up there under the hatch, and then I've got my two depth finder, the power cord and the actual unit cord that come out there. Have the ram ball mount there, fits pretty good, and then I have one over on this side too for another device if I so want. The pedal drive itself, very nice. Forward, backward, no problem. Backward, you'll notice a little delay when you go back, but not much. After like 2 pedal strokes, you'll feel it kick in and really works well. Of course, when you take this thing out, you open these locking deals. They're pretty easy to unlock. Over, and then to lock it back in place, just turn it that way. The whole thing lifts up fairly easy. This back lock here, there's 3 locks total. This back one picks up. You lift it up, it sets down in this spot right here. Sits in that rail. I'm not going to lift it up now for the simplicity of getting this video accomplished the way we like. Anyway, blocks back in place. What I really like is this little storage hatch. Believe it or not, this thing holds a lot more than you would think. It has a little cord on it to keep that thing handy so you can find it. I've got some gloves in there, a towel, some other little doodads. Fits back in like that. Make sure your cord's in there. Fits back in, snaps down, you twist that, fold it down, you're good to go. Very easy, very nice, very convenient. You've also got your little side pockets here for stashing gear in. I've got my scale in there, got the grippers, measurement deal. If I catch a big fish and you want to get the girth, that's what I keep that little measuring tape in there. And of course I've got my pliers. And then you've got one of these on the other side too, so there's plenty of room for storage in those 2 pockets. Another thing I really like is the new Element seat. Feels like a little bit more cushion in this here. I actually use another cushion on top of this, makes it even more comfortable. What's really nice is your bigger Plano boxes. You can squeeze one right in here. Now, it does fit in there a little tight, which is okay for me. I don't mind that. I don't want it just falling out anytime I do anything. So that way, and it's a little bit easier than you think to pull out of there. The weight doesn't really compress this because you've got these 2 crossbars, and so you can still pull it out relatively easy, but it doesn't just fall out. So that's a nice feature. The seat is great. It has, you see all these holes for your front edge. The first time out, I had it too far back and my feet were slipping off the pedals. So I moved this thing forward a little bit more depress these deals and lock it in place, and I don't have that issue with the pedals anymore. Pedal very efficiently, and my feet don't pull off. Now, another thing that I thought was interesting that they didn't really go over at ICAST was, and I'll pull the seat up and forward here, you have this hatch that's pretty much under the seat. Now, unless you're just real short, you're not going to be able to get to this hatch with any consistency on the water. That's the one thing I didn't totally like, but it's okay. It's still got a lot of storage. This hatch comes completely off, and there's no retainer, so you want to watch that lid, but it holds a lot of stuff down in there. What I have in there, I have attached to my stringer, I have a first aid kit. So I just kind of have that stringer hanging out there and then tighten this down on it. That way I won't lose it back in there, because it goes way back in there and way back up front. So there's a lot of storage in that little hatch. Anyway, I use that stringer and I can just pull that first aid kit right out of there if I were to need it. You've got these seat straps that once you get it locked in position there, not only does this thing slide back and forth, when you get it locked in position, you put these seat straps over here and they lock it in place real nice. It works great. I noticed that this year there's new style rod holders. I don't know who these are made by. They're a little more streamlined. They still work the same way, so not a big deal. And they're nice. These gear attachment plates, I noticed this over my MX. This is about the size they were on my MX. The ones at the front are a lot bigger. Of course, they may be the same way on the 13. I don't know. I didn't have a 13. I had the MX. But I noticed these are a lot longer and bigger than the MX. So there's a lot more room for miscellaneous gear if you wanted to put it on there. Now moving towards the back, we have the rudder. Now, of course, we have the bungee cords for tying stuff down. Now this thing is very adjustable. You can pull this clip off. You can put it on. You can put something in there and adjust it further back or further up this way, or you can have it out. There's many ways to adjust that. The rudder. Now the first thing you have is this little tie down. Don't forget to take that off, or you're going to have a little trouble deploying the rudder. Okay, we're going to come over on this side. The rudder, you got this gear on this lever, on the right side here, right by where your seat will be, to deploy the rudder. That's it, up and down. And then you have your adjustment over here for left to right. Works very, very smoothly. Then you want to close this, lock this thing back in place. Forward, right there. I was a little off kilter, so we just come over here and adjust it back. I notice that's pretty easy to do, so you just have to kind of make sure you get it in the groove there. Lower it down, put your strap back on for transport. You're good to go. The seat bag, I noticed a big improvement in this. I thought the one I had before on the MX was more of a cloth. It seems like they've made it more nylon now, which I liked a lot. It has the Velcro straps, but this nylon and the gray, the one I had was more black. It faded out very quickly in the hot sun where I live. This one, like I said, seems to be more nylon to it, more rainproof type material, and I don't think you're gonna have to worry about it fading out. It's pretty much the same color as the seat, and it holds, you can put your frog togs or your rain gear in there, some other things, gloves, miscellaneous stuff that you want to carry fit right there on the seat, and you can reach around to grab that while you're out on the water fairly easily. Nice seat. What I really like, and this is a silly little thing with me, but my MX didn't have a cup holder. I love this cup holder. It just fits right there. It's deep enough that I can put my Yeti type mug in there, and it holds it perfectly. So it's a silly little thing, but I really like it. It's great. What else we have? There's one of my rod holders right there in place on the gear track, or the gear plate. I still have a lot of room up there for other items if I wanted to put them on there. Anyway, that's a basic rundown of the PDL. I love this boat. 13 feet 2 inches long. It's 36 inches wide back there. Very stable. You know, I'm old enough that I don't stand up a lot, but I feel like I could stand up in this boat with no problem and sit down. I've only had it out on the maiden voyage. I'm going to try that pretty soon. See how comfortable I am with it. And I'm sure it's going to do just fine. Love this boat. Gets good speed. Reverse is awesome. It's solid, well built, and believe it or not, it's pretty quick, very maneuverable in the water, glides effortlessly for a boat of this size. I don't have any problem with that. I think it's great. Going to be a great fishing boat.